Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyane. This morning, I would like to share some news regarding the future of Judge Ratha in the sense of Meyiwa trial. Before I get into the complaint laid against him proper, let me just remind you that you are all aware of what has been going on in the sense of Meyiwa trial. I'll touch on some aspects of disturbing developments about the way the trial has been conducted ever since it started. Now, it appears that Teffo, remember I said this man will never go away. Teffo will always be in and around this trial. Teffo has lodged a complaint with the Judicial Services Commission about the way Judge Ratha has been conducting this trial. Now, how does that complaint come about? Or how is it lodged? The complaint can be lodged in this manner. Any member of the public who feels that, a judge is not conducting himself or herself in an impartial manner during the conduct of any trial can lodge a complaint against such a judge. That can take many forms. Now, the complaint that Teffo has lodged against Judge Ratha is specifically with regard to the way that he's been conducting this trial. That he does not seem to be impartial at all in the way he conducts this trial. You'll recall that there are a number of disturbing developments which have attended this trial, and hardly anybody is satisfied with the way Judge Ratha is conducting this trial. Among other things, there are disparaging remarks that he has made about the lawyers appearing in the trial, the defense lawyers. And amazingly, he has never said anything, negative about the prosecution. So you see, on the face of it, just by looking at all that, you can see that the honorable judge leans towards the defense. You'll recall that some time back, so serious were these allegations that they attracted the attention of the judge president of the Gauteng division, Judge Dunstan Mlambo, who then got in contact with him to say to him, "Here is a complaint that I've received from the Black Lawyers Association. Can you please attend to this matter?" That was after he made one of the many unfortunate statements he has made during this trial. Disparaging remarks about black lawyers, and insinuating that perhaps lawyers of another race, I don't know whether he had whites in mind, but perhaps lawyers of another race can do better than black lawyers. That was a very unfortunate development. Judge Ratha had to beat a hasty retreat out of that. He openly apologized in court to anybody that could have been offended by those remarks. Now, no sooner had that died down. Remember on the day that Ngomezulu was fighting for his life in hospital, just the day before Ngomezulu died, he made yet another disturbing statement in court, on record, before everybody, that he had been informed that, Advocate Ngomezulu had been seen in and around the Pretoria High Court building, in spite of the fact that Advocate Tulani Ngomezulu was reported to be ill. And at the time that Justice Ratha was saying all these unfortunate things, Ngomezulu was in hospital, battling for his life. And the following day, Ngomezulu died. So the complaint against him centers around the conduct of the trial, his lack of impartiality. And we have seen this on a number of occasions. I've also raised the issue that every time the defense raises an objection, he just brushes away those objections. And that is not the way a criminal trial is supposed to be conducted, or any trial for that matter. If, for instance, the defense raises an objection, he will then let Baloyi have his say. And once Baloyi has had his say, no ruling follows. The chariot moves on. Justice Ratha moves on as if nothing has happened. He makes no ruling on that objection. In other words, the matter is left hanging. And how can you say a man acting like that is impartial? Obviously, he's showing partiality to the prosecution by doing that. So it is that this complaint has been laid by Teffo. And like I said earlier on, Teffo is going nowhere. Teffo is here to stay. I suppose I can even go a step further to say, Teffo belongs here. Nobody can get rid of Teffo. Now, that is the situation. Now, having lodged that complaint, the Judicial Service Commission will then look into that complaint and find out whether it has got any merit. In other words, find out whether, it is well-grounded and well-founded on fact. And if it finds that, there's a solid basis for the complaint, it can then refer the matter to the Judicial Conduct Tribunal for investigation. And the tribunal can then be set up, like we have seen in the case of the Judge President of the Eastern Cape, Judge Mbenenge, who's facing quite a torrid time before the Judicial Conduct Tribunal following allegations of sexual harassment. Anyway, that is another story for another day. And once I said the matter is deemed to be serious enough, it will then be referred to the tribunal, and the tribunal will be established to look into the veracity or the truthfulness or the substance behind those allegations. On the face of it, my own preliminary impression is that there is a case to be made against Justice Ratha, unfortunately. I also know for a fact, and this Judge Ratha has mentioned in court, that the Judge President, Judge Dunstan Mlambo, is very worried about the pace at which the trial is proceeding. This trial is going on and on and on, and will not come to an end very soon. Now, how do you blame that on the judge? You see, any judge is in control of proceedings. And as the final arbiter or the person in control of the proceedings, he's got to make sure that, evidence is led, relevant evidence is led, and so on. And the trial makes some progress. Because you see, you cannot have an endless trial, and this one is turning out to be endless. I recall there was a time when he asked Baloyi about the Basson trial and said to Baloyi, "How long did the Basson trial take?" And Baloyi replied, "Oh, nearly 5 years." So in a sense, Judge Mokgatleng was insinuating that, oh no, we have not taken 5 years ourselves. So what is the media, shouting about? So the man is in no hurry to go home. He's a retired judge. I suppose he wants to make a little money before he goes back to his retirement, because you'll recall that the man has been recalled from retirement. So that is the situation. We'll keep an eye on that and see where that complaint by Malisela Teffo takes us. Now, having said that, what are the implications now? What are the implications, let us say, in the event that Judge Ratha is removed from this trial? You know, what a blessing in disguise it will be. But on the other hand, what a tragic development it will also be. Let me start with the blessing. It would be a blessing because there is just no purpose, right, in pursuing a trial that is manifestly unfair, and then wait for the trial to run its course and possibly do something at the end of that trial. If something can be done about the trial before it comes to an end, so be it. Let the judge get removed, because it would be in the interests of justice. It would be in the interests of the accused persons that such a move is undertaken, because such removal will ensure somebody replaces him, and hopefully the people that we see in the dock in the Pretoria High Court will get some justice, some semblance of a fair trial that everybody in this country is entitled to. So that is the blessing part of it. Now, the tragic side of it, the flip side of that coin, is that, look at it this way. We came from the Chifuwa Maumela trial. That was a waste of time. The trial went on and on under Chifuwa Maumela and just collapsed when the judge was charged with misconduct and various other allegations which need not be repeated here. And the trial had to start afresh. Can you imagine that? Imagine the pain that causes to those directly affected by this trial, the Meyiwa family. This back and forth. So it was that the Chifuwa Maumela trial came to an end, and we had to start all over again. This is why you find that Senzo passed away in 2014. And here we are in 2025, struggling and struggling and struggling to get our cars all in one line. So that is a tragedy of it, because the trial will then have to start afresh. God knows what is going to happen now this time around. Remember, we have got two dockets. I really hope that should Judge Ratha be removed, and I'm not preempting anything here. Get me right, I'm not preempting anything. I'm not saying that there's going to be a tribunal, whatever, and so on and so forth. But I'm saying in the event that he gets removed, right? In the event that he gets removed from this trial, these are the consequences. Yet another blow for the Meyiwa family, and yet another blow for the administration of justice in this country. And like the old saying goes, justice denied, justice delayed is justice denied. How fitting that will be in the sense of Meyiwa trial. But on the other hand, we cannot just have a trial for the sake of having a trial, because people's liberty is at stake here. We have people facing a very serious charge of murder that carries a life sentence. So we cannot just hurry through this and say, well, why impeach Judge Ratha? You know, this is going to cause delays and so on and all the rest of it. Why don't we just stick with this gentleman and get it all over with? That would hardly be any justice at all, especially for the accused persons. Those people sitting in there do not have the luxury of the freedom that me and you are enjoying. They want to see a fair process unfold, and they want to see justice and nothing else. And justice, if justice demands that we start all over again, tragic as it might all be, we'll just have to start all over again. So that is where we find ourselves at this point in time. Let us keep our eyes wide open and our ears wide open too to find out what comes out of this. The Judicial Service Commission has acknowledged, to the eternal credit of the Judicial Service Commission, it has acknowledged receiving Teffo's complaint, and this is the sort of thing that you expect in this kind of matters, that people must receive a letter and acknowledge that they are going to look into the issue and that they are going to come back to him soon. How soon is soon? Your guess is as good as mine. We'll just have to wait and see. So that is where we find ourselves at this point in time. Having said that, let me thank you for the views that I'm seeing, subscriptions that I'm seeing. Please kindly subscribe. Don't skip those ads and slip in a super chat there. All these things are important because, like I always say, they keep the home fires burning. The Senzo Meyiwa trial is a real tragedy. As far as I can see, it's a real travesty of justice. I just hope that should they start afresh, that they should start with Docket 375. Because starting afresh on 636 again will take us back to where we are now. But the struggle continues. Struggle for justice continues. And let me conclude this episode by saying, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for the subscriptions. And thank you very much for not skipping those ads. And please have a nice Monday morning and Monday, and have a nice week.